Good evening, welcome to News Tonight. Tonight, growing calls for Amansie Central District Chief Executive to be sacked and prosecuted after a JoyNews investigation exposed a brazen extortion racket led by the DCE, who allegedly protects illegal miners to ravage the environment in exchange for thousands of cedis in registration fees.
In the course of the day, this DCE must be relieved of his position.
We will support that and not just dismissal, prosecute such people.
We should be asking for their blood.
Details in our latest Hotline documentary, A Tax for Galamsey, which exposes how illegal mining in Amansie Central District is systematically taxed, receipted and protected by government appointees.
Any activity related to Galamsey is criminal. There's evidence that some individuals are engaged in the law is taking the mining case. It wasn't that I want to be and 2 or 3 others.
We'll bring you a response from the Presidency.
Also tonight, Roads and Highways Minister dismisses claims by the MPP Ashanti Regional Parliamentary Caucus that the government is downgrading the Suame Interchange from 4 tiers to 2, calling it misleading and lacking proper context.
Whether 3-tier or 4-tier now, it is his failure and the failure of that government to deliver the project, and we are going to deliver that project for the good people of Amansie.
We have details as he takes a swipe at former Minister Francis Asenso-Boakye.
The position of the entire NPP caucus in Ashanti region, I doubt if that is even the reality, because he signed it by himself.
In business,
well, some firms fear a significant reduction in inflation rate could hurt their operations and discourage manufacturing.
In sports,
Galamsey dismisses calls for his sack after Caucus elimination from the MTNFA Cup.
And in Nyasaba in the northern region, women farmers are battling drought, land scarcity and hunger, but not without resilience.
Last year, the drought was severe, so it was a low yield, and it's happening again this year. If you harvest and there's no yield, how can you pay your children's fees?
we've got the latest of these and many other stories coming up in the next 60 minutes. You can be a part of the show by sending us a WhatsApp on 055 11 11 997. My name is Kenneth.
Mine is Gemma up here.
Details after this. Good evening. Tonight, President Mahama's government is facing mounting pressure to dismiss and prosecute the DCE of Amansie Central in the Ashanti region, accused of running a protection racket for illegal miners. A JoyNews investigation reveals the DCE's task force allegedly charges miners thousands of cedis to use destructive machinery to destroy the environment, sparking an outrage and calls for accountability.
The documentary uncovered how illegal miners are compelled to pay fixed registration fees of 3,000 cedis per Chanfan machine and tens of thousands of cedis per excavator in exchange for protection to break the law. Here are excerpts of our latest Hotline documentary produced by Clinton Yeboah and Nana Boakye Iadom.
Bread and the veggies
becoming more like a mafia situation where if we are not very careful, it's going to engulf all of us.
Ghana's Galamsey fight has a hidden engine, a pay-to-destroy syndicate operating in the shadows.
If somebody must be in prison, it's those district chief executives and ministers and others who are doing the Galamsey.
Ghana's illegal mining crisis has taken a darker turn. Despite promises, policies and political declarations, the destruction rages on. Our rivers run brown, our forests are hollowed out, and our communities choke on poisoned water and abandoned pits. For years, illegal miners have been blamed. But what if the real crisis is not merely the illegal miners, but an institutional marketplace where government officials turn environmental destruction into a revenue stream?
What these task forces are doing cannot be said to be fighting illegal mining, but rather extorting monies and creating problems.
Sucking monies and creating problems.
In this documentary, we expose the coordinated extortion scheme, now an organized network involving district authorities, NADMO officials, and a district chief executive himself. A network stealing from the people, enabling illegal mining, and accelerating environmental genocide unfolding across forests and river systems in the Amansie Central District of the Ashanti region.
They have actually also more or less evolved certain methods, certain technologies where they can combine all manner of metals and cause damage to the brain, damage to the kidneys, damage to the liver, damage to the lungs, damage to the gastrointestinal tract. And the eventual effect is that this patient may end up developing cancers.
If the president is so minded in fighting illegal mining, then it should start with his appointees. And by appointees, I always refer to the MMDCs because many of them are neck deep in Galamsey corruption.
According to the Forestry Commission, 44 out of 288 forest reserves have been invaded and harmed. Beneath the crisis are acts of bribery and corruption, illegal payments, extortion, sanctioned by those elected and appointed to protect our resources. Our investigation began as whispers of an organized extortion scheme kept resurfacing, with stories shared quietly among miners who speak only in cautious tones. The fragmented accounts pointed towards a task force allegedly operating under the authority of the district chief executive of Amansie Central, Emmanuel Obeng Ajeman. According to the patterns we observed, miners were said to be paying 3,000 Ghana cedis for every chamfan machine, one leg as it is termed, while others pay 30,000 Ghana cedis and more for every excavator in usage. Our investigation also uncovered receipts and warrant stickers being issued to guarantee uninterrupted illegal operations when payments were made.
Those who use excavators pay as much as 70,000 cedis. It doesn't matter if you are mining legally or not.
These allegations demanded the deeper inquiry, but our strongest evidence came from a recorded phone call with the district chief executive. In the tape, he confirms that the task force collects monies and that it operates under his instructions.
Assembly, me as DCE,
At assembly with me as DCE, I have given him the instruction to take the monies, and he is the mining desk officer. If his approach isn't the best, fine. But since he started taking the monies, it's almost a month now. The miners he has encountered are more than 20. For everybody who calls me to complain, I direct them to Malam because I have given him the mandate to take the monies.
It is at this point that we confirm the cash payment in exchange for Galamsey. Undercover, we infiltrated the Jakobu Township, the seat of the district assembly, posing as illegal miners operating at Eskisu, one of the mining communities. It is time for us to uncover the loot. We secretly filmed every process and navigated the community on motorbikes. The assembly is where we intend to make payments and confirm every illegal mining scandal. Our undercover operation led us to Philemon, a receptionist at the district assembly. He greeted us and with apparent willingness agreed to help us procure a warrant sticker for our Galamsey operation. He called one district engineer who would later send us contact to the mining desk officer himself.
Eugene, some 2 miners have come to purchase stickers for Shamfai machines.
After.
Good afternoon.
Boss Macho, okay, baby, stick out.
Hold on, let me send you the number of the officer.
Hours passed as we waited for the mining desk officer and leader of the task force, a man known interchangeably as Red, Malam or Nana, who also served as the community's chief imam. Our wait was prolonged because he was reportedly out on an operation collecting the tax from illegal miners. Despite Philemon's call to the officer going unanswered, we pressed for alternatives. We were informed that the collection was a collaborative effort involving the District Assembly's Revenue Office and the tax force. However, the Revenue Office had already closed for the day.
Apart from Malam, it was the car and a revenue for 1 minute or million.
Malam and the revenue officer are the only people who can issue a sticker, but for revenue, it's on rare occasions.
Payments were allegedly collected on Mondays and Wednesdays alone. Later, we managed to speak with the head of the mining desk on phone. He confirmed the 3,000 Ghana cedi payments for Chamfan machines and instructed us to wait for his arrival, which was very uncertain.
One leg, you know.
Okay, I am not in today, so let's make it Monday early in the morning. Then you come and make payments. I am currently at Bekwai.
Because you think you're Kumasi.
Even a call placed by Philemon to a task force member named Texan yielded no concrete assurance regarding the partial payment, highlighting the rigid nature of this alleged scheme.
Boss, I have called Malam, but he said he will get back to them later. But they want to confirm if half payments will be accepted for the 3,000 cedis champagne. He said he can't confirm except for Malam alone.
It's weird you would say that a state that has called, irresponsible mining terrorism is then at the same time facilitating this through what is seemingly even state sanctioned, right? Because there are receipts that are involved. It means that the state infrastructure is accounting for its support and its own implications into it. So it's a strange arrangement where the state now is in itself an illegal miner.
Our investigation points to serious breaches of the law by state officials entrusted to protect the public. Under the Minerals and Mining Act 2006, Act 703, facilitating or providing cover for illegal mining constitutes a criminal offense. Evidence gathered shows that officials who offered protection and collected payments may have crossed the line from regulators to accomplices. These actions potentially violate the Criminal Offences Act 1960, Act 29, which criminalizes corruption and abuse of public office, as well as the Public Financial Management Act 2016, Act 921, which prohibits unauthorized collection of public funds. The conduct of the District Chief Executive also raises questions under the Local Government Act 2016, Act 936, while the environmental damage may contravene the Environmental Protection Agency Act 1994, Act 490.
Those are excerpts of our latest Hotline documentary produced by Clinton Yabua and Nana Boakye Yadom. You can catch the full interview on our various social media platforms. And reacting to excerpts of this documentary, Executive Director of the Media Foundation for West Africa, Suleiman Ibrahim, says the act by the DCE warrants the immediate dismissal by the Presidency.
There are Minerals Commission officers, and Minerals Commission is the entity that is supposed to regulate the mining sector, not district assemblies. And so certainly this is a matter that I do expect that within the next, in the course of the day, this DCE must be relieved of his position. But that would be just one district, and it doesn't solve the bigger problem. I don't know why it cannot be that if you are a DCE and there is evidence that Galamsey is happening in your district, then you are not fit to be there. Unless we are being told that we've gotten to the point where Galamsey activities are so overwhelming that our national security, our security apparatus at the district level, at the regional level, cannot deal with it. If that is what we are being told, fine.
But convener for the Media Coalition Against Galamsey, Ken Ashigbe, says his dismissal would not be enough without the Office of the Special Prosecutor investigating corruption undertones perpetrated by the network.
And this particular DCE, we need to immediately ensure that he is arrested, investigations are carried on. So not only should he be arrested by the police, definitely there's some corruption and corruption-related activity in there. So the special prosecutor, we have seen him, also with this thing. This is also one of the cases that we need to deal with. And so if we really want to deal with this issue, we need to deal with the firefighters who themselves are the arsonists. People like his ilk, who have been appointed to be the president representative in the district, but they themselves are, deeply involved in it. There are some DCs, when I call them out, they call me and say they are fighting it, but definitely not this DC, based on the work that you have done. And so we should be asking for this DC. We should be asking for any DC who is giving permits to any of these people. We should be asking for their blood. The question the Honorable MP also asked is that this champagnes and all of that, this proscribed equipment, they are imported, they come through our ports. They are shipped all the way. There are places that you saw the EPA go around and close some of them. How is that those people have not been arrested? So we need to really wake up and smell the coffee and say that these people, they are not putting our futures at risk. What we are talking about is our today.
That's the convener of the Media Coalition Against Galamsey, Ken Ashigbe there. Meanwhile, the minority on the local government committee says it backs calls for government to institute a full probe into the extortion ring at the Amansie Central District.
Certainly support not just the dismissal, but also prosecution. We need to set a very good example and deter people. The purpose of punishment under criminal jurisprudence is to deter people, at least one of them, apart from information. So I think that we should use this person to set an example to all other DCs and government officials who even dream of engaging in this blatant destruction of our natural resources. So obviously we will support that and not just dismissal, prosecute such people. But look, I think beyond the dismissal, government has to be proactive because you see, and I'm happy my senior brother Kenneth also mentioned the cyanide problem. Look, I think that a lot of people are not even giving attention to it. I think your media and other media houses should rather be looking at the cyanidation. It is one of the most dangerous things happening to our environment right now. The way illegal mining operators are now using cyanide. Okay, and the problem with it is that it aids them to increase recovery. So if they take an ore without cyanide, if they're going to take 20% of the good out of the ore, with cyanide, they may get about 80% to 90%. So the demand for it is going high. People are now rushing for it, and the effect is dangerous.
That's a member of the local government committee. He's also the MP for Suame, John Dako there.
Well, government spokesperson Felix Kwachofosu has assured that government will not shield any appointee that engages in any criminal conduct.
Any activity related to Galamsey is criminal. So once evidence comes to light that some individuals are engaged in criminal conduct, the law will take its the same way that the law is taking its contaminating case involving the found to be and who are there. So that's what I have to say. One is to read the investigation to see what is contained to be in a position to take necessary action.
All right, Felix, apologies for not informing you earlier. We know of your tight schedule. That is why we felt it was a good opportunity to, chip this in. But as you've mentioned to us, you are yet to see that particular documentary, but I've mentioned excerpts of it. And you are assuring us that government is going to take this matter seriously and all those implicated will be dealt with, correct?
Of course, once evidence comes to light with wrongdoing, it will be taken up. As I speak to you, a prominent figure in the society, Bernard Nchibosi, who was the regional chairman of the MP for the Ashanti region, is standing trial over allegations of involvement. So it shows you clearly that it doesn't matter who's off his court. Once there is evidence of wrongdoing in respect of Ashanti, the law will take its course. And the president has made that on many occasions.
That's Felix Kwachofosu there. He's government spokesperson. Let's go into the telephone lines right now and speak to John Dako. He is a member of the local government committee of Parliament and also the MP for Suame. We also have Andrews Bediako. He's a former administrator at the local government authority of Ghana. Gentlemen, thank you very much for joining me this evening. Let me start with you, John Dako. Are you satisfied with the assurance, so to speak, that has come from government through its official spokesperson?
Well, I mean, I think it's good. It's good that government has given us assurance that they're going to take this up. But, it's not enough. We need to see action. Why should government wait for Joy FM to bring documentary before they even talk about it? Where is government security? Where is our national security? They say they have 9 months. What have they been up to? They've been paying a lot of millions of our cities to these people. Why is it that it should take Joy FM to bring this out? Can't the government agency, the EPA, the Minerals Commission, the 9 months, the military, the police, why are we paying them? Why must it take Joy FM? Joy FM, did anybody give you money to do what you did? You did it because you love Ghana. Nobody is paying Joy FM to do this. But we are using our taxpayers' money to feed government and government officials to be doing this for us. So if Joy FM hadn't come up with this, we wouldn't know. And even apart from that, look at what Felix is saying. My colleague is saying that, well, they haven't seen the documentary and that if they see evidence, they will take action. So it tells you about a government which is sleeping. In fact, in the afternoon, I mentioned about the importation of cyanide into our country. It looks like our government is even aware that illegal mining operators are bringing in cyanide into our country. Our security is in tatters. Why is national security officials being paid? Why are they being paid? And so for me, my worry is that it has to take Joy FM to come up with this for government to react the way it did. That is even worse. One would have expected that even without promptings of anybody, government would have come out to say that the intelligence has discovered ABCD. Why is government intelligence not discovering this? Because this is a dangerous thing. This is going on. Government officials are involved in this Galamsey. In fact, in the afternoon, I told you about a text message I received that right now the party delegates, they go out to the mining companies, they collect money to their party chairpersons in their constituency, and the chairperson will sort out the NIMOs. That is what we are hearing. Is the government not aware of this? So for me, I would have been very happy if this whole thing has come out from the government-owned sources. It tells you that the government is sleeping on this job. It tells you that we should probably be paying Joy FM. We should be paying some of our taxes to you, because you are the people bringing out the ills of our society whilst our government is sleeping, whilst our security agencies who are being paid are sleeping. Joy FM is the only one doing this job. I am ashamed that I have to pay my tax to this government. But the government is not using our taxes the way it should be.
Right.
And it's sad. If care is not taken, we know the effect of this Galamsey, effect of cyanide on our health, and government doesn't even know that it's happening. Joy FM breaks it, and then government officials say, okay, yeah, we are now going to look at it. And if there's evidence, it looks like they don't even believe that this is real.
John,
and that is the sad reality we face as a country.
John, don't go yet, but I want to put on record that the text messages that you are mentioning, we have not independently verified it. I asked you earlier to provide my producer with details of that, so that is coming from you.
I can forward it to him right now.
Okay.
I asked the person whether I can mention his name. He asked me not to.
Right.
But look, I am forwarding this message right now to...
Right.
I think that, yes, I'm sending it to your thing right now.
Okay.
It should be there for you to know that I will not make them up.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. But don't go yet. We have another person on the line who want to engage. Gemma?
So Kenneth Andrews Bediako is on the line. He is the former administrator for the National Association of Local Authorities of Ghana. Welcome to News 9. So when we spoke to you earlier, you indicated that the DCE shouldn't be the only actor to be held responsible in the scheme of affairs.
Good evening, my sister, and good evening to your listeners. I think you are right. As I said in the afternoon, DCEs are not supposed to be working. They work with other people. For all you know, probably, I'm not saying this one, the DC is not aware. For all you know, somebody sitting somewhere can issue some of these seats without the knowledge of the DC. That is also possible.
If you listen to the documentary that we played just a few minutes ago, the reporters actually had a conversation with the DC.
Right? So, as I said, somebody at the assembly should be held responsible. I know the DC, but we need to exploit the conversation to cover other people, because you cannot work in isolation. Who issued the receipt? From the finance office. So what I'm saying is that we allow people to get away with a lot of things at the assembly, because when these things happen, the DCE, who will be blamed because he's a politician. The first point, of course, is the DCE. He's a politician.
Mr. Bediako, if you allow me, the DCE is the head of the Regional Security Council for the district. He's supposed to be in charge of whatever happens at the district. The buck stops with him. Not so.
I agree with you perfectly, my sister. But what I'm saying is that if we always target only the politician, we allow other people to also get away with certain things that might not be in the right direction. That's why I'm saying we should expand it. The DC is capable. As you said, the back stops with him, we all agree with that. But we should not allow other people to also get away with it.
You keep mentioning
those who
other
are
people.
complicit in this situation.
Which people are you
I think that we
referring
need to expand the conversation to cover other people. That's my point.
Which people are you referring to?
When you get to the assembly, the chief advisor to the DCE is the coordinating director. And the finance office, they are responsible for issuing of receipts, and all the payments go through the finance office. So the finance officer who allow such things to happen. You see, the finance key individuals at the assembly. But if you always attack, or if you always go for the politician, other people will also have some, because there is no way if the finance officer will issue the receipt and he knows definitely that is illegality, and he will go ahead to do it. I mean, it is not possible. So the DCE, the coordinating director, and the finance officers, all of them should be investigated.
Right. I want to bring in John Dako at this point. Do you agree with what Andres is saying, that the back shouldn't stop with the DC alone?
Oh, I mean, on that I agree. Sometimes we tend to pick on the politicians. But why not? Because the politicians give direction. And in most cases, we're able to take the head out, the rest will just be useless. So it's okay to also look at the officials at the assembly, but if we're able to deal with the head, in most cases, the rest become weak. And so, yeah, on that I agree with him, that the officials as the assembly should also be held responsible. Because in this particular case, what we know is that they are collecting, in their view, taxes. So the coordinating director and the finance officer and all the people in the assembly, have they actually been collecting the money? Can they account for it? And of course, it is illegal money, really, because you cannot collect money for the use of champagne. Because champagne is a prescribed equipment by 703 at 995. So you cannot tax an illegal activity. So indeed, if they have done so, where is the money? Will they be able to account for it? And in most cases, the officials at the assembly should be able to advise the government officials against some of these things. And if they don't take the advice, then of course you can rise to the authorities. But no.
John, how keenly is the committee following this story and how it unfolds, especially how government reacts to it?
Well, I mean, for us, you see, the committees are made up of majority NDC members. Okay? So, yes, the committee will follow, but in terms of action, it behoves on us in the minority to bring the issues up. It's only unfortunate that in this country, once your government is in power, your mouth is more or less zipped. You cannot criticize your government. It's so bad, we need to change that. And so for us, the minority on our committee will continue to hold the government accountable. We'll continue to raise the issue on the floor until something is done about it.
Thank you very much. John Dako is a member of the Local Government Committee of Parliament. He's also the MP for Suame. And Andrews Bediako is the former administrator for NALAG.
And that brings us to business. And George Riafe is standing by with the latest. George, what have you got for us?
Well, Kenneth, coming up in business, some enterprises fear the significant reduction in inflation rate could hurt their operations and discourage manufacturing of more products on the market. And the executive chairman of McDan Group, Dr. Daniel Macaulay, pushes for a shipping line for Ghana backed by private firms to aid trade and movement of cargo within the region. The business news on Newsnight is brought to you by MTN Business. Welcome to the new world of business. Kingdom Books and Stationery, your number one-stop shop for all your office essentials, Sinter's tanks and Pepsodent, Herbal and Charcoal. You welcome back to business on Newsnight. Now, some businesses are worried that the significant reduction in inflation rate could badly hurt their operations and that of manufacturing firms. Inflation rate has hit 3.8% for last month after some significant reduction over the past 1 year. Makbedu Abuaji is chief executive of the Ghana National Chamber of Commerce and Industry. He's also been speaking about the misalignment between the policy rate and the current inflation levels.
But to see inflation at 3.8 now, and to see policy rate at 15.5, I still see some form of misalignment somewhere. The real interest rate for me is so huge that it's supposed to drive a lot of external investment. But the question is, are we seeing that? If we are not, then we need to interrogate either people are not really feeling the real interest rates, either they are adopting a wait-and-see attitude, or the policy rate is extremely high and needs to come down first. Actually, those who manage prices, like the central bank, are coming down. So you don't necessarily keep your policy rate that high and keep your lending rate that very high. The 15.5% of our policy rate is still among the highest in the world. If your policy rate is 15.5, means your interest rate will be more than 20%. So when the policy rate was 27%, it reduced by 900 basis points to 18%. You realize that the lending rate also dropped from 30.5% to I think 20.4% as we have now. That gap between the policy rate and the lending rate is something that we also have to look at.
Makbedu Abuaji is the chief executive of the Ghana National Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Real estate firms have revealed that the introduction of VAT on their operations could erode the recent gains made from the city's appreciation. The gains, they say, helped boost sales of firms like the Apollonia City. Now, its country head and managing director, that is, of the firm, that is, Permanaz Maras, says that they are worried about this development. He has been speaking to Joy Business at the groundbreaking event at one of their property sites in the country.
You know, initially, that's a good question. Initially, the depreciation of the city was impactful to our operations because most of our off-takers were actually domestic or Ghanaian clients were based here. So we saw the velocity of sales going down over the last couple of years. But I'm very happy over the last 12 months since President John Mahama came into power with appreciation of the city. We've seen a very total reversal of, the kind of dire situation we had in the past. We are seeing a lot of Ghanaians now having enough purchasing power to be able to invest. And also, of course, we're also having a lot of sales from Ghanaians who live in the diaspora. So essentially what we're saying is that during the last 12 months or so, with the, continued strengthening of the city, the impact has been positive for us. We've seen a lot more, traction from investors, both domestically and also.
And that is country head and managing director of real estate firm Apollonia City, Permanaz Maras. He is the country head and managing director of Apollonia City. Now, Executive Chairman of MacDan Group, Dr. Daniel Macaulay, is pushing for a shipping line for Ghana owned by private firms to aid trade and cargo movement within Africa. Dr. Macaulay argues that this would actually, the current challenge is actually increasing the cost of businesses, with some significant margins being made on these costs and affecting their operations, making them uncompetitive in the region. The Executive Chairman of MacDan Group has been speaking at the African Prosperity Dialogues program in Accra.
I have seen situations where moving goods within Africa costs more than shipping to another continent. I've been in logistics and shipping for 3 decades. And this is a problem, but we cannot leave it for government alone. This is one reason we in the private sector, as MacDan Group, is trying so hard over the years to set up and start the Black Star Line. Connect Africa, because moving cargo from Ghana to Senegal, the cargo had to go to Belgium before coming back to Senegal. Under the Africa Trading Company, the Continental Trading Companies, we set out to buy vessels, cargo planes, to be able to connect the continent. The biggest problem we have is connectivity. If you don't have the sea, you don't have the air, you don't have the logistics, you don't have the business. You don't have the money. You can have all the money, but if you don't connect these two, the trade is not yours.
Executive Chairman of the MacDan Group, Dr. Daniel Macaulay. Now, President John Mahama has revealed that government has moved to ban the export of minerals like bauxite and manganese in its raw state from the country. The move is part of a larger plan by Ghana to ensure that the country benefits more from these natural resources. The President disclosed this in an interview during a state visit to Zambia.
We've asked the mining companies to set up the refining plants to refine the ore into at least primary processed products before they are exported. With bauxite, we want the full value chain, from the ore to the alumina production, and then to the Varco aluminium smelting, so that we bring it out in its purer form for use as engine blocks for aeroplane manufacture and all that kind of thing. We started with gold. There was a signing ceremony with Gold Coast Refinery. We refine 1 ton of gold a week, which amounts to about 52 tons of gold a year.
And that is President John Mahama. And that's all for business on Newsnight.
Thank you, George. It's now time for sports, and Benaya is here with the latest. What's up?
Yeah, Kenneth, all our teams won over the weekend. Chelsea won. Madrid
all our
won.
Teams? You and whose team? Say all your teams. Which teams are they, by the way? I know Chelsea.
Madrid.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
George's Arsenal. Barcelona. We say Barca fan here.
It was a good. It was a good weekend for big teams.
Yeah, for all of us. Yeah, just that we won in style. Your win was some way, but we take it like that. Now, one camp that are not happy with their coach is Kumasi Asante Kotoko, because they lost over the weekend. But however, Karim Zito says he's confident that he will remain in charge until the end of the season, despite the pressure following the club's exit from the MTN FA Cup. Now, Zito has come under pressure from fans after a series of inconsistent performances this season. Kotoka are currently fifth in the Ghana Premier League with 45 points from 21 matches, with their struggles deepened over the weekend when they were knocked out of the MTN FA Cup by Diana Stars after a 4-2 defeat on penalties. Now, despite this, Zito believes results will improve with him in charge.
Depends. I've not done even 1 year. You are asking me 2 years. So for now, what am I going to tell you? But I know for now, when you look at the trend going, nobody is happy just because the results are not coming. But I know whether I'm there, I'm not there, the result will come for anybody who is going to start. And I wish I would be there myself to see to it that this thing start gelling and gel well. So for now, I can't tell you what will happen tomorrow, but I can tell you what will happen this afternoon. Even what will happen tonight, only God knows.
That's Karim Zito there, and that's it for sports. Kenneth.
Thank you very much, Benaya, for bringing us the latest in sports. You're still listening to News Now here on Joy 99.7 FM in Accra and our numerous affiliates across the country. The Roads and Highways Minister Gavin Suame Interchange has dismissed claims by the MPP Ashanti Regional Parliamentary Caucus that the government is downgrading the Suame Interchange from 4 to 2 tiers, calling it misleading. Francis Asenso-Boakye claimed the NDC government is deliberately repackaging the Suame Interchange project, accusing it of denying the Ashanti region the road infrastructure it deserves.
However, in a swift rebuttal at a separate press briefing, the roads minister said, contrary to the minority's claims, government has only revised the scope of the project to a 3-tier interchange following the commencement of the Kumasi Outer Ring Road, which he says will significantly ease traffic congestion within the metropolis.
Construction of the Kumasi Outer Ring Road will divert most of the traffic up north from the city center. Suame will therefore require less capacity than previously projected. As much as the original design was not arbitrary, it offered what it could based on the opportunities that existed at the time. And with the construction of the Outer Ring Road, an even more appropriate option is being offered. The modification would allow us to save those buildings and allow the businesses to thrive whilst offering a new first-class concrete road from Akom on the N1 to Bankra on the N6. In addition, the barred section from Ebusuakura to Akom would be completely rehabilitated. I disagree that reducing the scope from a 4-tier to what is being proposed, which is a 3-tier actually, not a 2-tier, will fail, as this is not being done in isolation. In fact, the only portion of the original design being eliminated is the 4th-tier bridge, as the expropriation impact does not make it worthwhile, especially when the Outer Ring Road is being constructed.
Let's bring in Francis Asenso-Boakye. He's the former Roads and Highways Minister and also MP for Bantama. Grateful for your time this evening. Your successor has rebuffed your claims that the Kumasi Suame Interchange has been downgraded from 4 tiers to 2 tiers. Is he right?
Well, first of all, let me thank your listeners. This morning, the Ashanti Caucus responded to an interview that the Honorable Minister granted sometime last week, when he indicated that they have plans to downgrade the scope or reduce the scope of works for the Suame Interchange project from a 4th-tier to a 2-tier. I just heard him say that it's not 2-tier but 3-tier. But if you have the recording, of what he was reported to have said last week, he was categorical. He said from 4th tier to 2th tier. So if you change the position, then it changes everything. Secondly, he said that they are doing so because there's no funds now. But subsequently, I think he responded to me and said that it's not because of lack of funds. So the whole his whole position has changed since the Caucus spoke this morning. But my point was that this is as a result of lack of funds, then they are not being fair to the good people of Kumasi and Ashanti in general. Because, one, they have come to Parliament to say that they are adding the Suame Interchange project as part of the Big Push program, which Parliament approved. And to say that we don't have funds, that was quite unfortunate. Secondly, we are aware that the finance minister has indicated that this year alone, he has 43 billion cedis to finance road construction, which means that they have funds. And the Suame Interchange project is one of the most important road projects in the country today because of what it seeks to do. The second largest city, in fact, one of the fastest growing cities in Ghana, if not the fastest. And it is also a transportation hub. It's a nodal city which sits right at the heart of the country, where if you want to go to the north from the south, you pass through Kumasi. From north, east to west, you pass through Kumasi, and vice versa. And those of us who live in Kumasi, we can tell you that the traffic situation during rush hours in the morning and the evening is unbearable.
So, Mr. Asenso-Boakye, your press conference this morning was based on what the Roads Minister had said in an interview. At the press conference today, he sought to clarify what exactly he meant in that interview. Is this something that you're okay with?
Well, I'm going to review. We are going to review his clarification and the content of it. But our intervention this morning was as a result of an interview that he granted, that there's no money for the project, and as a result, they cannot do the 4th year now. They cannot do it the only 2th year, and later, subject to availability of funds, then they will come back and do the 4th year, or add the 2 levels, which he knows very well. He knows very well that it has cost implications if they were to do that. Okay.
Mr. Asenso-Boakye, not to cut you, but his press conference today, which was in response to what you did indicate that it is now being reversed to 3-tier because of the commencement of the Kumasi Outer Ring Road project.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That I'm going to review his intervention after our press conference. But I'm saying that what has changed? Just last week, he said that it's 2-tier, and it's because there's no money. That's why it's been downgraded to 2-tier. And just after we spoke this morning, he has come back to say that it's not 3-tier anymore. It's 3-tier. And that is not a result of lack of money.
Right. Sorry to intervene once again, but the road minister hit back at you at that particular press conference, saying that you failed the people of Ashanti region when you were Minister of Roads and Highways, and that if you had completed that project by 2024, as Akufo-Addo promised, we wouldn't be talking about this critical project at this particular time.
It's just mischief. For him to say that you failed the people is just mischief. Because first of all, it was the MPP administration that initiated the project, and we secured funding for it. The funding had a shock because of the debt exchange program, and we couldn't access the funds. And quickly, we had to reprioritize government funding, and we secured another fund from the Afri-Ezim facility. So that alone shoots down his claim that we failed, because we initiated the project. And when we had global shock, which affected the funding, we quickly reprioritized and brought in additional funds or new funds to start work, which we did. And the project was ongoing until we left office.
Right. Okay, Francis Asenso-Boakye, thank you very much. He's a former roads and highways minister and also MP for Bantama constituency in the Ashanti region. Before we go, Jama, there's been a few messages our listeners have been sending to our WhatsApp console. Francis from Accra says, in fact, our governance system, even at the local level, is rotten and corrupt to the core, as DCEs can now engage in a cartel. Everyone in state office is engaging in diabolical and criminal acts to make money as Ghanaians suffer. Prof from Tema says everyone is talking about vote buying, but we buy things that are not for sale or available in the market? Why are we not also talking about vote selling? Nana from Spintex says the NDC must annul the Ayawaso election and rerun if possible. And Nana Ekwiyamwa Boatin from Ablekuma says, congratulations to Multimedia for the Exposé on the Galamsey. Ghanaians have questioned the lackadaisical approach this government is using in the fight against illegal mining. This is because the government is neck deep in this and will pretend to be fighting it. Musa Abatwa in Aswansi says the fact that JoyNews has uncovered some alleged illegal activities involving a task force in the Amansie Central District does not necessarily mean that the DCE was aware of them. And this one from Akachi says the district chief executive must be dismissed outright and prosecuted according to the law. Those are some of the messages that you've been sending to our WhatsApp platform. Thank you very much for being a part of the show this evening. My name is Kenneth. Jesse.
Mine is Gemma. Up here.
Have a good evening.